Hey folks, I had some time today in the midst of running around and decided to sit down and share with you some news that I got on Sunday that made me start to think about this entire process. And my hope is that you'll listen to this and apply it to your own lives so that you in turn don't make the same mistakes that I did. About 3 years ago, I was selling t-shirts and I would do pop-ups on the streets and in front of playgrounds to sort of gauge the public interest of my brand. And it went really well. I would do little capsule collections here and there of 2 or 3 shirts, and I would sell out. And to me, it showed an overwhelming support of the brand, which I was ultimately excited about. With a little help, the next piece that I wanted to make was a handbag or like a messenger bag. It was really innovative and what I thought at the time was something that no one else was doing. I had done all the research and went and shop for supplies and tried to put it together myself, and it just wasn't up to the standard that I wanted it to be. Thought to myself, why don't I go and find a manufacturer? And when I tell you I looked long and hard, I really looked. And I went online and Googled. I even asked around and I found a few places, but I just had a bad feeling about them. And then I had Googled this one place, and it was a manufacturing company in Brooklyn. And they basically did clothes and all types of accessories. And, you could call and sit down with them and talk strategy, and then you'd come up with something. So I reached out to them asking if they could do this bag, and they were immediately interested and gave me the address and made an appointment to sit down and go over strategy. So I go with the materials, I tell them how I want the bag to look, and they came up with a whole bunch of really great ideas. So I paid for the samples and just waited and waited. And then finally, after I want to say 4 to 5 months, I got a call back to go see the samples. And the samples were really good. Like, I was surprised at how the colors went with each other. Everything that I had in my head really sort of came to life in the design. And I was really surprised. So I decided that I wanted to move forward with this manufacturing company to make the bag. And I was on a high. I said to myself, all right, like I picked this group and, they seem very professional, Black owned. It was what I thought in my head was a good thing. And so I wanted to do 100 bags. So I paid for the bags, and then things started to happen. I would get an email, oh, we need more fabric. I don't know any better. And I'm like, okay, cool. Paid for them. Then I would reach out to them and send emails. Hey, I'm reaching out to find out the status of the bags. And then it was nothing. It's just a complete ghost town. Then I would reach out and I'd hear from them. Mind you, this is, 3 to 6 months at a time. And in my head, I'm just thinking, oh, well, this is what manufacturing is. This was, again, my only time dealing with a manufacturer. So this is just what I thought it was. And then 6 months later, I'd hear from them and it's like, oh, well, we were having problems with the zippers and we couldn't get the zippers for you. So we're going to have to stop the project. No refund, by the way, but we're going to have to stop the project. So I'm like, well, let me see if I can source the zippers. And I went and found the zippers. And when I tell you how much money I spent on these zippers, you would think I was nuts. There's actually a story about it on my Instagram, which you can go follow. But I went and got the zippers, and now the project could continue. It's been another 6 months, and I'm not hearing anything. And I'm ultimately frustrated because I really want this to start to move in a more prosperous direction. You know, I feel like we will go for a while and then we'll sort of slam into a wall, and then I don't hear anything for a few months. And it was ultimately very, very frustrating. You know, I'm got money in this. I'm spending a lot of time and effort and sweat equity. And I'm just like, I hope I get to see this back. And then I don't hear anything. And ultimately, I'm frustrated now because this is a company that I wanted to grow with and grow my line and do all this stuff with, because to me, it made the most sense. And again, it was Black owned, it was in Brooklyn. I thought it would just be the best thing for me and the brand. The manufacturer is local. You don't have any language barriers between someone overseas, and timing is different. It's 11 o'clock over here and then it's 11 p.m. over there. Just all types of craziness that I thought I don't have to deal with the breaks and bumps and opportunities that other people have had in the beginnings of their brand development. And the whole time this is going on, I'm just frustrated because I can't believe that they're not reaching out to me to update me on what's going on. What is holding up the process? And so one day I decided to go to a trade show. There was a trade show happening in New York City, and I figured that I could go there and maybe discover some people, networking. Again, that was a big opportunity for me. It still is. And I decided to put my big boy pants on and go to this trade show and just sort of explore and see what was going on. And right when I get at the trade show, I'm bombarded with all these different people giving me samples and business cards, and I mean, just nonstop. And as I'm walking around and my hands are full of stuff, I decided to sit down at a little table. And as I'm sitting down at the table and I'm just going through all of these business cards, I look over to one booth and I see a Black man there. It's one Black man, and in this trade show, in this sea of people, he was the only Black person there. And I said, let me go over there and just see what his booth is about. And I go over there, and right away, you guys, I touched the fabric and the product. It's really heavy and durable. It was really, really good stuff. And he had just done a collaboration with Tommy Hilfiger with his brand, and we started talking, and I was ultimately floored just by his professionalism and how he carried himself and the way that the clothes were made and the designs. Everything was really nice. And so he was referring me to the company that he used, and they were in China. And I thought to myself, oh man, this is not a good idea. Typically there are communication issues and there's always these little hiccups and things that happen. And so it probably wouldn't be a good thing to do. And I ultimately went against that based off of my conversation with this gentleman and decided to dive headfirst into the water and see what would come about. And so after the trade show, I thought about it for about 2 days and said, I think this might be good. I send an email and I get to know them. And just through talking for about a month, they seemed like a really reputable company. And they were very committed to me. They listened to me. They asked me what my brand was about, why'd I choose that name, what I wanted my brand to represent. And they just really asked a lot of caring questions. And it was more than the Brooklyn manufacturing company had ever done. You know, we spoke about GSM, weights of materials, what did I want to use, what they recommended. And I really thought that it was great because it was a symbiotic relationship. And they really helped put together what I think is an outstanding first collection for me and my brand. But all of that took 4 months. All of it, from sitting down, having conversations, to going over materials and weights and finishes, all of that from that, and production, 100% production, took 4 months. And so 4 months of dealing with this Chinese manufacturer versus 3 years of dealing with this other manufacturer who couldn't even get anything right, and there were delays and nothing was happening properly. I'd asked a question towards the Brooklyn manufacturer, well, why do you guys take so long? And she immediately went into this whole diatribe about how I'm paying my guys a certain wage, and Chinese manufacturers are no good because they exploit people. And as she's sending this email, I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, I hear you, but my experience has been nothing but professional with these people. They're introducing me to family members and they give me a tour of the whole place. Like, it was really top notch. And I applaud them for making me feel so welcomed into this manufacturing game. Because I pushed back and asked so many questions, I got this immediate negative energy. But needless to say that after those correspondence of emails, I didn't have a good feeling going forward with the company and the position that they were sort of in. I had sent an email to them once again a few weeks ago stating that, you know, I wanted to hear something. Like, can we get some sort of concrete conclusion on when these bags will be done? And then that sort of leads me into Sunday's email that I got from them, that they politely said that they have decided to close the shop. And so immediately I'm sitting here boiling, because it's like, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on materials and all this stuff for you to now tell me that you're not going to be able to get me my bags. Like, my collection is done and I'm just waiting on this one thing. And it was just so frustrating. I mean, I got so upset. I became so angry because I couldn't believe that you had given me all this runaround just to politely send me an email that says that, you know, you've decided to close shop. And I was really hurt about it for the past 2 days, like wondering what I did wrong. And there's some personal accountability that comes with that, because I probably should have vetted more. I should have asked more questions, even though I did, but maybe I just didn't do enough, because when I was seeing those delays, those 3, 6, 9-month delays, I should have immediately said something then. Or I don't know. They tell me that they're closing and they don't know what's happening. And so immediately right away, I'm like, okay, so what about my bags? Are you going to give me my bags? Listen, even if you just send me what you have, then I can at least go and figure out a way to get the last of the stuff made. And nothing. It's just been crickets. And it's just been so frustrating that to this point, like, I really love the bag. You know, it was something that my son and I had researched and he was excited about, and I sort of took it and asked the right questions and got different materials, and I was so excited about the bag, so excited. But now it looks like that it's not going to come to fruition because I made a mistake and picked a bad manufacturer. I walked away from that experience feeling very sad and angry and just a whole bunch of other choice words that I cared not to use right now. But I was really upset because it's time and money that have just been thrown away. Ultimately, I say all of this to say, be careful that, oh, money. If they are asking you to pay 100%, you do not pay 100%. The other company that I'm with now, they ask for a 30% down payment and 70% after everything has been made. And I also should have known that that was a bad idea from Jump Street. They wanted all the money, and I should have never done that. Anyway, I say all this to say that be careful on your journey, talk to people, engage, have a network of like-minded individuals who will give you advice and help you through things. If you're coming up on roadblocks and opportunities, talk to people. You don't have to do everything by yourself, even if you feel like you do. Right now, I'm just in between a rock and a hard place. The clothing part of the collection is done. I'm really excited to show you guys everything. There are some pictures on my Instagram and TikTok if you want to go over there. And yeah, ultimately, it's just been a very trying experience. But I'm here. I'm okay. We're still going to do this. We're still going to persevere. We're still going to have fun. The collection is still amazing. And we're going to do this together as a community. It's okay if we have bumps and opportunities, but it's how we persevere through these things that ultimately make us who we are. So I've been going on for almost 20 minutes now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to all the people who have been supporting me on social media. The growth in the last 2 or 3 weeks has been crazy. All the DMs, all the people who have been saying they like the pictures and the bears, everybody who has just been really supportive. Thank you so much for taking the time to, pressing a like or leaving a comment or even sending a DM. Like, all of it makes a difference. And so even if I haven't responded to you on an individual basis, know that I have read your messages and I've seen your comments. So thank you.